Hello everyone and welcome back to Newegg TV. My name is Paul and today we have a special guest here in the studio. This is Leon from Gigabyte. Hello Leon.
Hi.
It's our first time meeting.
Yes.
I'm just kidding.
It's good to be back.
Leon and I are old friends. Thank you for coming back, Leon. Very exciting launch that has just recently happened and we're here to share with you a special board from Gigabyte designed specifically for this platform. So I'll give a little backstory if you don't mind. X99 is a new chipset that Intel has released. It is made for motherboards that have the socket 2011-3 socket. And Intel has 3 new CPUs that they have just launched that fit in this socket. This is the Enthusiast platform. This is like their Halo product, really high-end, extremely powerful. It's designed for gaming. It's designed for multimedia content creation. Really, if you need a computer that can do a lot, this is what you're going to want to invest in. Apart from that, though, the 3 CPUs that are available are all either 6-core or 8-core. With hyper-threading, that means I have either 12 or 16 threads. DDR4 memory support, so very fast memory, starting at 2133 megahertz. And we also have PCI Express Gen 3 natively supported as well, either 28 lanes or 40 lanes available. Depending on the CPU. Some chipset specs that I also know are the X99 chipset has 10 SATA revision 3 6 gigabit per second connections available. Those are all native as well, and they support stuff like rapid smart response technology. And then you also have support for next generation storage technologies such as SATA Express as well as M.2. Did I cover everything?
That's most of it. Just a quick reminder for you folks out there, if you guys are looking at one of these boards, just like Paul said, it's 2011-3. So if you're looking at an older LGA 2011, it's not going to fit in this board.
No backwards compatibility there. But honestly, 2011's been around since, what, 2011. Right. So it's about time we got a new Enthusiast.
And this is actually the first time that 8-core is actually introduced into the consumer market. Before, the only way to get an 8-core, you would actually have to go towards your server level, a Xeon processor. So for the consumer segment, this is the first time that it's actually readily available to you guys.
All right. And the product, since we didn't say the product name either, is X99-UD5 Wi-Fi. And this is from the Performance series from Gigabyte, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, it is.
And then you guys also have a gaming series, which has a red and black aesthetic as well.
Right, and we also have our overclocking series for those enthusiasts who are interested in overclocking and want to get the best score out there to break some world records.
Excellent. But let's talk a little bit more specifically about this board. Now, we've gone over kind of some of the general stuff that people are going to be able to access once they invest in this platform. But I know each motherboard manufacturer likes to distinguish themselves from the others by providing, say, some unique features. What are some of the standout unique features that Gigabyte has integrated into this board, Leon, in your opinion?
Well, definitely for us here, we always try to bring down the technologies that you see in the higher performance boards on the higher end side later on generations. So, for example, path lighting, we introduced back in our 8 series chipset. And we actually introduced it mainly for our gaming segment. But now you'll actually see it carried over to our performance or even our overclocking segment. And that's something that gives users a better audio protection and I guess less crosstalk versus what you're doing on the digital side of your board.
So not only is it a nice aesthetic feature because it provides you a nice light. What color is it on this board?
This one would be yellow. So a lot of the lighting will match exactly what color your board is.
Very nice. And then, but it also has a practical feature as well in that it separates your audio from the rest of the components on the motherboard and helps prevent some of the noise and interference that can occur.
Right, and we've done a lot to build on the audio side. We've separated your left and right audio channels, so you're not getting crosstalk when you're actually getting hearing footsteps on your right. You won't get it transferred over to the left side of the speaker or anything like that.
That's convenient. And I noticed over here, are you guys doing a swappable op-amp on this one as well?
No, this one actually doesn't have a swappable op-amp, but that's something that's exclusive to the gaming series. But we also have an amplifier. It's not saying we don't have an amplifier, but that's something more on the gaming side where users will actually want to get better audio, where audiophiles will actually want to go towards those boards. Okay,
my mistake. That's a gaming series feature. We were looking at that earlier, and I saw it. And but it is available on the gaming series if you're interested in that one. But apart from that, you do have the amplifier built in. So
we do have amplifiers.
Do we have support for like higher impedance headphones and that sort of thing?
Again, that's on the gaming series. So a lot of audiophiles will go towards the gaming series. If you guys are interested in that, definitely check out our gaming boards. It's our G1 gaming boards. If not, our performance series is usually targeted more towards the mainstream consumer level who want an all-around performance. Maybe some overclocking, maybe some gaming, maybe they just want a workstation build for that matter.
All right, sounds good. Apart from that, I do really like the aesthetic of this board. We have a very nice black PCB. We have some sort of black and gray elements as well, and then we have kind of the gold-yellow coloration as well, which is it's a nice change from a lot of the color schemes that we've seen before.
Yeah.
And it's really I've seen more yellow cases lately actually coming out there. Yellow, gold.
Yellow, gold.
So I'm sure there's going to be lots of options out there. But apart from the aesthetics, let's talk functionality-wise. How about the PCI Express layout? I'm guessing this is going to have, with all the PCI Express lanes available, support for multi-card configuration?
Right, and as you guys can see, we do have some stuff in front of us just to remind us of some of the things we want to touch on. We do have a 4-way SLI card here. There are some other cards that allow you to do 3-way Crossfire, 2-way SLI that we've also included for you guys. Like Paul mentioned, depending on the CPU that you have, if you have the two higher-end models which have 40 lanes PCI coming from the CPU, you're actually able to do 4-way graphic support. And with Crossfire, you're able to get about 320 gigabits throughput off of the four PCI lanes because you're able to do by 8 by 16, by 8 by 8.
Excellent. So that's some monster bandwidth that you have available.
Right,
so
definitely.
Whether you're investing right now and looking at the current generation of cards that are available, or if you're looking towards the future, because we are expecting some additional launches. Of course, there's always going to be new hardware coming out. You're probably going to be all set for those as well with PCI Express Gen 3.
And that's not the only thing that we brought to the table this time. With, like we said earlier, where we trickle down the higher-end technologies down to our different segments, where we actually cross-segment it, you actually see that. Well, you can't exactly see it, but it's incorporated in the board.
Okay.
We've actually upgraded and even added more gold plating into our board. Okay. So before with our Z97, Z87, we were using 15 microns. Now that's above the industry standards about 2.5 times. This time we've doubled it. We've added 30 microns, which gives it 6 times the industry standard.
Oh, wow.
So you'll find that in our DDR4 slots, the DIMM slots, you'll find it in the CPU socket, as well as in the PCI slots.
And the function there, is this going to effectively like reduce resistance and heat buildup?
Right, and also it prevents any tarnishing. It betters that signaling connection because of gold. So that's definitely something that a lot of users or enthusiasts would want to spend. I mean, if you're spending $500 to $1,000 on a CPU, you want to make sure you have good contacts.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, excellent there. And then is that across all the sockets here, so the DIMM slots as well? Right,
so all the DIMM slots would have it. The PCIe lanes, the CPU socket would have it as well.
Someone was just commenting right now, we just got word that people approve of the 30 micron gold contacts on this particular motherboard. Now, we were talking a little bit earlier, you guys have introduced maybe, I want to say some bling onto this board, right? A little bit, some lighting effects?
Right, we do have something. Let's get into that a little bit later.
Okay, we're going to, that's just a teaser.
We'll come back to it, but let's give everyone an overall of the board.
Sure.
So you guys can actually see we do have the heat sinks here for the VRMs, the power phases, and you also have the heat pipe coming around, and actually we also have another heat pipe at the bottom for the PCH.
Okay.
Coming to the side, you have your standard SATA connectors. We have SATA Express. We have some debug switches right up here with some CPU fan headers. This is basically your standard stuff, so we just want to touch base on that.
Well, standard stuff. These used to be premium features, but they're so accepted now in Gigabyte motherboards, it's just kind of, I guess it's expected, but yes. Also very nice to have. I love to have the surface-mounted buttons, both for external builds as well as just powering the system on and off.
Right.
I really
so definitely, if you guys, this should be standard in the boards that you look for. So definitely look at our boards because we do carry it in them as well. So we have Pwm Fan Headers right here. Here we have several around the board. Not to bore you guys, we're going to jump over to our next generation form factor right here in the front. So we have 2 M.2 slots right here. You can see that one's actually already populated with a wireless AC card.
Okay, now I've been doing a little bit of research on M.2, so I know a little bit about this. This card that's already installed there is an M.2 E-keyed M.2. And if you're interested, I actually have a video I did on my own personal YouTube channel, Paul's Hardware. If you guys want to check it out, a little bit more explanation on M.2 and the ins and outs of that. But sorry for the shameless plug. But M.2 for SSDs is going to use this plug right here. And I like that you guys have saved some space by kind of stacking those on top of each other. And this one is going to be the one that you're interested in if you're looking for high-speed SSD storage.
So again, 10 gigabit throughput, just like SATA Express. This surpasses the limitation of what you guys have seen in SATA, where it's about 6 gigabits only. So you're getting almost double that bandwidth.
Okay. Excellent.
Right.
And I like to have that feature. So yeah, both that and the SATA Express both have 10 gigabits per second. I'm sorry, did you say the PCIe lanes that were assigned to that for the M.2?
So there's PCI and MSATA.
Okay, so it's compatible with both.
It's compatible with both. So moving around the board, something different, we also have a Thunderbolt Pin Header.
Very nice.
So our boards, our X99 boards are all Thunderbolt ready.
Nice.
So we followed the Intel standard with that. So definitely, if you guys are interested in being future-proof, our boards are a good choice for that. If you find the card for it later on, you can just add it on, connect the pin header, connect your display port to your Thunderbolt, and you're going to have a certified Thunderbolt signal coming out of here.
And I know people are making content creation machines. That's been something that's been kind of glaringly missing from X79 for the past 3 years. People want Thunderbolt for that external connectivity and really high-speed storage. So excellent there as well. What else do we have?
So now we're back over to the audio. We've talked about the path lighting. We're using Nichicon audio capacitors. So these are very high-end electrolytic capacitors for the audio side. We've separated the digital from the analog. You guys might have heard us say this before, but that does prevent any EMI or any crosstalk between your two sides of the board when you're listening or focused on music.
Okay.
All right. And coming back to the rear I/O.
Here, I'll go ahead and grab that for you.
All right, so coming to the rear aisle, you can see we do have the connector for your Bluetooth, your wireless AC. We have our speaker jacks. We have actually 2 gigabit LANs, and this is Intel LAN, so you're actually able to do teaming with this.
Very nice.
You'll see 8 USB 3.0s, and we're going to touch on that white USB. Sorry about that, guys. We're going to touch on that white USB port right there in a bit. We have an OC button. For those of you guys that want better performance, you guys aren't really familiar with overclocking, this is a great way to get a performance boost. All you have to do is push that button and you get a jolt of speed.
Very nice.
The other one we have Fastboot. This allows you to actually jump past your post check for your BIOS or Cmos, and you can actually boot straight from your SSD or hard drive.
Oh, perfect. So is that I'm guessing Windows 8, Windows 8.1?
So it'll jump straight through into that, rather than checking through your RAM, checking through your BIOS, and make sure everything's okay.
Would you recommend for folks building a new system, maybe get the system up and running, make sure everything is working properly?
Yes, definitely.
Then you go ahead and push that button and get yourself booted into your operating system a lot faster.
Yeah, that's definitely something you guys want to remember when doing that. And at the bottom right here, you can see for convenience, there's actually a Cmos reset switch. So depending on the BIOS that you're on, as you know, Gigabyte is famous for their dual BIOS. Depending on the BIOS you're on, by pushing that, that'll actually reset that Cmos right there for you.
All right. Now, you mentioned that white USB port there. I'm curious. What is this special sauce going on there?
So this is actually something new that we're bringing to the table. This is QFlash Plus. So if you've ever run into a scenario before where, you know, there's new hardware coming out, you need a BIOS revision, or you've damaged your BIOS. Even with dual BIOS, it's possible if you don't know what you're doing. You've damaged both BIOSes, you don't know what to do. With QFlash Plus, all you need to do is get a flash drive, put it in FAT format, and download whatever BIOS that you want that's compatible with your board off of the Gigabyte site, and you can actually load it in there, and it can actually write the BIOS onto your board.
Excellent. So I imagine in situations where maybe you have a motherboard that doesn't have an updated BIOS for a new CPU, for example, or perhaps just in a situation where you had a power outage at the wrong time as you're flashing or something like that, no longer is that going to brick the board, but you still have the capability to update that even with no CPU, no memory installed.
Yes, so you don't need CPU, you don't need memory, and this is something that's very unique to us, so it will actually write over your main BIOS as well as your secondary BIOS.
Oh, okay. So you can update both at the same time?
So you don't have to worry about, oh, I have to go in and update this. I don't know how to update the second one.
All right. I've been a fan of the Gigabyte QFlash for quite some time. I really like how easy it is to just jump into the BIOS, load up your onto a drive, and flash it. So this is an excellent addition. I know it's one of those things that you actually kind of hope you don't have to use.
Right, but we want to have it there for those that need it.
In those situations when it does become useful, it's like a lifesaver.
Yes, definitely. So we do have some other stuff in front of us. Just to give you guys a heads up, this is a braided cable. Now we introduced some braided cables to you guys in our Z97 series, Black Edition motherboards. So if you guys are interested about that, check that out as well. It's here at Newegg. This is something else that we were talking about, how cross-platform, cross-segmentation. We're bringing different features because of the feedback that we've gotten from you guys, and it's something that you'll see in other boards as well. Okay. All right, so should we get to the teaser part?
Yes, so here's what we kind of mentioned earlier. Gigabyte has introduced a bit of bling, and this is the first I/O shield I've ever seen that has a plug connected to it.
Yes.
So is this an overclockable I/O shield? Is that what we're looking at here, Leon? Because
this I/O shield actually has a very unique feature in the fact that it lights up.
Ah.
So for those of you guys that are in a dark room, you guys are trying to find your USB port in the back. You're trying to connect something, and you can't figure out what's what. You don't want to turn on the light. You don't want somebody knowing you're awake still. You can actually enable or disable this light on your I/O shield.
So this is a lifesaver for those of us who wake up at 3 a.m. and you're like, man, I'm tired, but I want to work on my computer. And then, okay, so this is great. This is a great solution for me. But no, that really, practically speaking, I've encountered this so many times. You try to climb around behind the back of your computer, you're looking for the right plug.
And it's just not bright enough.
Back there. Excellent. I've seen some cases actually that introduce features similar to this, so it's great that it's just built in there and you don't necessarily have to go with those specific cases. So excellent feature there as well. And is this on the gaming board as well, or does this have any other
There are some other lights as well on this board. So with our X99, you'll actually find lights on the heatsink as well. This section right here will actually light up.
Nice.
And not only that, with all the lighting we have this time around, we've introduced a new application into our App Center. So we call it Ambient LED.
Okay.
And you're actually able to configure the lighting. So for example, let's say you're listening to music. You have a side panel. You want to do something with it. You can actually select to have the lights flash to the beat of the music.
Nice.
And with this one, the I/O shield will mimic, if you have it on, it'll mimic whatever setting you have for the path lighting as well as for your heatsink light.
Oh, very cool. So does it just work with music? Or so here's my challenge to anyone watching this video right now. You got to get this motherboard, set up a system with it, and then watch this video and watch your motherboard light up to us talking. That's
a good challenge.
That's maybe not exactly what it's designed for, but that's just a crazy idea.
So that's a good thing also. It's not only, it doesn't actually only beat to music. You can have it on the whole time, or you can actually have it pulse. Okay. So like it's breathing, you can actually have it go on and off in a slower tempo.
Excellent. So some various lighting features there, and we all know, especially if you're looking at an enthusiast platform, side windowed cases, very popular. Building a system that you like to look at, not just to use, is extremely popular. So I really like including that feature for folks who want to fancy up the inside of the case a little bit, maybe have a disco party.
Yeah.
We need to set up a disco party. We're going to get a bunch of these systems, set them up, and we're going to have a party with them.
We'll play some music.
That's very exciting. Any other additional features, Leanne, you wanted to mention here before we wrap up?
Well, we have one more here for you guys. This is actually a connector. For most of you guys, it's not something that's unfamiliar. It's actually for the CPU right here.
Okay.
But you'll actually see that there's 3 connectors coming out. And again, this is something that you might find more on the cross-platform side. For overclockers out there who actually have systems which have shut down on you because of either an overvoltage or overcurrent protection on the power supply, this will prevent that from happening as the CPU can pull from 3 different lanes.
Okay.
Versus just having one single lane and your power supply shorting out or tripping a breaker and it resets itself.
Excellent.
So this is something good for overclockers or any enthusiast out there who just needs a little bit more juice to the CPU.
All right, so if you're going for a high-end overclock, or if you've dialed in your overclock and then you notice maybe some stability that you can't pinpoint, then go with that.
This is definitely a good tool to have.
All right, excellent. Yes. And a nice feature there. And also I like that it's optional, so if you're not going for a crazy overclock, you can probably do without it, right?
You can just use your standard modular cable or whatever cable that comes with your power supply.
Beautiful.
All right.
Well, I think that wraps it up for this video. Again, guys, this has been the X99 UD5 Wi-Fi X99 Chipset Socket 2011-3 motherboard for a new Intel Haswell E enthusiast CPUs. And Leon, thank you so much for coming by today.
Thanks for having me again.
Of course. If you guys are interested, we'll have links to this particular product down in the down in the video description. So go ahead and click on that. While you're down there, leave us a comment and let us know what you think of the lighting effects that Gigabyte has integrated here. Is that something you're into? Is it something you feel like is more suited to gaming series? Because I know Gigabyte, they read the comments, they listen to your feedback, and they're always looking for viewers.
Right, definitely. And also on our Facebook page, Facebook Gigabyte USA.
Okay.
If you guys do have any comments, let us know, and we'll definitely read them and get back to you guys as well.
Perfect. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button. Give us a like while you're down there as well. We'll see you all in the next video.